It's weird sitting down to interview one of your friends for a video that I'm sure no one is interested in watching. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Skid Maher.
I am shocked that you would refer to us as friends. When you can't trick these people. They know that this is all an act.
They don't know. We can't lift the veil that much.
All right. I'll play along with your little fantasy scenario where we're friends in real life.
So my best friend Skid here.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Skid, did you ever think you would be a professional role player? Because that's pretty much what's happening right now.
No, man. It's awesome. Like I say, like I acted for a long time in a lot of horrible plays in New York. Sorry for anyone who directed or wrote them when I was in.
Or saw them.
All the people I forced to come to my plays over the years, I'm so sorry. And I hated it. I realized at a certain point, I hated it. Like, I hate rehearsing. I hate other actors. I hate the entire process except just being on stage. This is like, if you had told me as a kid that I could one day do something like a job doing something like this, I would have been very happy, as I am right now.
Listen, no disrespect to the other players in our show, but I think it's safe to say that our listeners who have come to love what you've done with Galabras Finn, Nestor Coin, Professor Pembroke the Potent, all these other characters that you've come up with, summoned creatures and whatnot, they are probably most excited to see what you're bringing to the table for our Dead Sons podcast. Skid, let's just start with the name of this character, because that's what sold it to me. When you sent me the biography, the subject line was just the name, and I was like, I can't wait to read this bio.
Okay, well, his name is Dr. Kundatu Friss.
I like it. What can you tell us about Dr. Friss?
Dr. Friss is an Isoki. He is a medical doctor. He's not strictly speaking licensed anymore, but he still prefers to be called doctor. He put a lot of work in, so he'd like to keep the title. He had a very hardscrabble existence. He grew up in the trenches in Akitan, in the slums, the very slums of an economically depressed planet that's seen better days, and he has a mysterious patron who helped him kind of rise up, and through his own hard work, natural intelligence, and will, he has gone to like the finest medical schools and colleges on Absalom Station and become this doctor, but his own ambition and curiosity have gotten the better of him from time to time and have left him, contributed to leaving him in the situation he's in now, which is a bit, shall we say, desperate. Yeah,
he is in a desperate situation right out of the gate. So seeing how he's going to deal with that within this adventure path, Dead Sons, I mean, I'm really excited because I know what you've created, and I'm excited to kind of meld that with the story that the people at Paizo have made.
Yeah, I was saying before, I'm more excited about some of the characters in the backstory than I am for my character. And I love the character, but there's some stuff in the backstory that I think is really cool, and I'm excited to see what you do with it.
Yeah, just like you did with Galabras' backstory in the Glass Cannon podcast, you created this character Brander, which has become such a big part of the show. There are characters in your bio for Dr. Friss that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to work this out.
Yeah, I can't wait.
When you first pitched this character to me, you sent me like 4 ideas, but the one that sold it to me is you said this guy's a cross between 2 characters. Do you remember what those characters are?
I said he's a cross between Maester Qyburn from Game of Thrones, who is the guy who creates, the slightly the ethically challenged but brilliant disgraced doctor, and Dr. Zoidberg from Futurama. So I think he's a better doctor than Dr. Zoidberg, but that's kind of informs it a little bit.
Sold. Yeah, I think that says it all. Meister Qyburn and Dr. Zoidberg.
And he's a rat.
And the other thing that really sells me on this character is the voice. And, I think you probably would agree. You create characters from the outside in, from the inside out, mechanically first. But, with this one, would you say that the voice is really how you started getting into this character?
Yeah, the voice was the key thing. That was something that excited me because I've been watching The Expanse on Sci-Fi, and I've tried to get all the rest of you into it as well. And there's the Belter, they created a dialect on the show for the Belters, so the people who grew up in the asteroid belt, like the miners, like these working class, that kind of Creole, you know. And so that was something that I wanted to kind of play with. Like it fits into Friss's background, like growing up in the slums the way he's done, and it's something he can't shake. And it's a way, and it affects the way that everybody else sees him, they interact with him. Is that they think is that this is some lower class scum, and he's in fact, you know, this brilliant like scientist and doctor, and it's something he is challenged with. And I've also been, you gave me that really nice notebook for Christmas, and I've been inventing words and phrases for this language that I'm coming up with that he grew up. It's like trencher. It's called trencher. And it's like the made up language that Gaff speaks in Blade Runner. It's just this kind of like melange. And so I've been like coming up with that little stuff for him to say to like pepper, you know, his speech with, you know.
Well, when they do an addendum to the Pack Worlds on Akiton, I'm sure Trencher will be, you know, part of the actual languages you can choose for a character.
Yeah, I should work harder on it.
There's one actor in particular on The Expanse that really inspired you, and like he's probably the CGI version of your character because you're playing a Yosoki.
Yeah. I mean, I always envisioned Doug Jones kind of wearing the suit with the dots on it, but the voice is definitely Jared Harris. I love him. He's great. It's actually, I can't remember if I told the story on the podcast or not, but I was, to work on the accent, I edited together all of Jared Harris's scenes from The Expanse, because his version of the accent is the perfect one for me. And his wife found it, and she tweeted about it, and I was just like, oh, that was me. And she was just like, oh, it's so great. And so we talked for a while, and she's just like, oh, my husband is just getting on a plane right now, or else I'd have him like jump online and give you a quick like tutorial like about doing the accent. And I was like, well, I can work around his schedule. Like whatever, you know, if he's free, I can do it. You know, don't worry about me. And so I'm still waiting for that call.
So you're saying you have a standing appointment with Jared Harris?
Jared, man, if you're out there, you can slide into my DMs or whatever. Like we can do it on the DL. Like it's all cool.
We'll have to add to the description of each episode, dialect coach.
Yeah,
Jared Harris.
That's fine.
Dialect coach for Skin.
I'm sure he'd be happy with the credit.
Before we wrap up, anything that the listeners need to know about Dr. Friss right before they listen to episode 1 that's going to really get them excited? Not that they're not already super excited about it.
Dr. Friss is, like I say, he's a brilliant doctor, a brilliant scientist, ethically challenged, perhaps. And he's been hurt a lot of times in a lot of different ways over the course of his life, and it affects the way he interacts with other people. He has a very honed instinct for self-preservation, and it's hard for him to trust other people. So I'm curious to see how that plays out with this group, because all the other characters are all awesome also. Like that, I'm so excited for every other character in this group too. And I can't wait to see how all of us bounce off each other. But for Friss, like developing see if those friendships develop, like that's going to be what's cool for me, you know.
Well, Skid, you're an inspiration to role players everywhere, and I want you to know when I inevitably kill Dr. Friss, I'm not doing it because I don't like him. It's because the listeners need to see more and more characters that you create.
All right, well, we'll have the exact same accent. I'm just letting you know because I worked really hard on it. I don't want to do another.
I promise to give him 15 episodes.
Okay.
Minimum.
All right, thank you.
Or maximum.
So generous.
Thanks for stopping by, Skid.
Thank you.